Hi guys, it's Belle here and it is time for days 16, 17 and 18 of hashtag the Oddtober24, hosted by the lovely April over at Pink Oddbird in collaboration with the wonderful Priscilla at Release the Crafting. Now, I worked on days 16 and 17 off camera, and we're going to work on day 18 on camera. So let's go over those ones first. Day 16. So we've just found the box of food. It looked a bit weird. It had what looked like spell potions on it. So day 16's prompt was, the food helped with more than my hunger. I fell asleep and woke up to a huge bird calling from the window. It's carrying what looks like a map. So I went back to the tag that, where is it? I think it was day 11. Yes, I think it was day 11. So I went back to that idea of the window in the treehouse, but it's a different window to the other window I made, or it's meant to represent a different window, but it's similar. So again, I've done all the planks. I've put acetate. You can see that, or I'm hoping you can see that there's a whole blah, 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 one of the Tim Holtz acetates. There we go. I've put the net behind as well because I'm thinking there's windows on different sides of the treehouse. So this is another one to the one I made on day 11. But it's still got movement because that's what I like. We've still got some of the words that say join and run. But I didn't want the shutters on this one because I wanted the window to be bigger. And then we've got the windowsill here, and I've brought in some branches to represent the tree, as in the tree house, and I've just put a few bits of greenery on here, and you can see I've got this big bird. I think it's a raven. It was actually from a stamped image that had all this text and a witch's hat, but I could actually cut around the raven. So yeah, this is a stamped image and I've just inked it a little bit. And then I've actually got the tiniest piece of vintage map. This is a real vintage map, I think from the 50s, in its mouth. So that's the map. That's the big bird cawing at the window with the map. And I use the words, she felt dimly that the end was not yet. I.e., I'm woken up feeling refreshed. It's morning time. We've got the tree house. Can I just get in the car and drive away? No, there's a giant bird squawking at my window holding a map. So I feel dimly that the end is not yet. So that is day 16. And then day 17, I take a closer look. It looks like there is a house located somewhere here in the woods. Maybe this person will be able to help me. So the rest of that vintage map that I had, because it was just kind of one sheet, I then literally, this is the tag, turned it into the tag. So just like in this picture here, you see it's raised on the edge. I've actually raised these edges. Now I know this edge, it was meant to be down here, but I put the word and I thought it looked better there. I also cut out, I don't think I've got any of it left, but beside the map, there was a big picture of the UK because it was one of those big vintage fold out ones. So I cut out I used the images. I wanted to use as much as possible on the outside of this, and I've done a wax seal. It says a strange journey. It's a map. We've got all the CMNS. And then if we open it, this is actually magnetized. If we open it, the one magnet's under there, and I've used some washi with this beetle, and it has words, but it actually says dove, sweet dove died, thought it died. I thought that kind of went with the piece, and you can see now the rest of that UK map there, and then we've got it down there. This is folded. This one's glued, but this one's not. We've got a pentacle on there in colours of reds, blacks and greens, because if you look at this tag, I need to add some green possibly. I've done like a little red circle to be the wax seal. And then if we open it up, the other magnet's actually under here. If we open it up, we've got the vintage map. And because we're going towards a forest, I did the house down here in the green bit. Obviously, it's not a map as in, you know. But so you can see, here's the amusements, i.e. the carnival. We've gone along the road. There's the fork in the road. I'm just kind of doing it as this red one is the road. We've got up here a cross for where that bit's blocked off with a skull and crossbones, and it says dead dry bones, because if you remember, my crossed off piece had like the bone collector and thing. Then I've used the Tim Holtz word that says the savage monster just there because of the dog we saw. Then we've got the tunnel. So we made a tag with the tunnel. I've written tunnel beside it. I've actually stitched the road we're following. You can see the red stitching here, but I've stitched it on the map too. We've got the tree house here. It actually says tree house. Then we've got all these trees. We've got the mushrooms, because we are coming up to a prompt about mushrooms. We've got this troll bridge, because we are coming up to a prompt. Sorry if that's spoilers, but... And then we've got Howling of the Wolves, because the tag we're about to work on has animals. We've got danger down here because of the bridge. I've used some rub-on trees, the Tim Holtz rub-ons, to act as forests. And there we have the little house. So actually it's quite simple, but I think it's effective. I just thought it might be a little bit simple to maybe do on camera. And also I didn't want to spend ages stitching and badly hand drawing things. So they are days 16 and 17. The birds woke us up in the treehouse after we've had a lovely sleep after eating some nummies out of a box in the corner, and because we're not making great choices. And then this is the map that the bird has brought us. So day 18, guys. I set out in the foggy morning. It was a gloomy morning. This forest is full of life. I'm seeing animals everywhere, but the animals look off. So, I have read ahead to some of the prompts, guys, because I wanted to know what else was kind of coming. But in my original 2022 prompts, the first set of prompts in this story set of prompts, I based my whole story around the idea of Jekyll and Hyde. It was loosely inspired by that. So whilst this one's got more of a fairy tale kind of vibe, when I thought of animals looking a bit off, I thought of the island of Dr. Monroe. And then I also thought in fairy tales, animals often look like people. So I cut out some of these animals, and they are from the Tracy Fox. Let me grab it. So yeah, they come in squares like this, and I've cut them out, and they are from the Tracy Fox Keep Creeping portraits. I will link it down below. And I thought these could work, but I don't know which one I'm going to use. Now, I prefer the ones that have more of a sepia tone, like this fox and bunny. But I really loved the stag, so I kind of went over it on with the walnut stain. And actually, it does give it this kind of hazy look. So I like that one. I then cut a tag out of scrapbook paper. So obviously, I've been working on the white card, but I've cut this out of scrapbook paper, which, as you can see, is a beautiful green. But then I've used my inks. I've used the walnut stain and the, no, I haven't. I've used the vintage photo and the black soot distress oxides. I didn't add any green, the cracked pistachio. I didn't need to. And I've only done it on the top because we have these. And I'm literally going to make these as pockets. Now, I want to do this one first, I think. This is just some scrapbook paper. We're going to rip it down. We're going to see how this looks. I should have ripped it the other way. Do you know what? It's fine. I can ink that. Let's see. This might not be big enough anyway. So let's ink this. So this is just some foliage. I want it to look like we're really traipsing through a big forest. That'll work. And then we're going to have this one, which is all these beautiful ferns. Love this scrapbook paper. It's just from a pad that I think I found in the range, which, again, don't often find those. So I kind of want it like that. We're going to ink this up. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come together. I had something in my mind, but to be honest, I should have maybe printed the images. Actually, Tracy does them slightly smaller, but on the digital, like they come in two sides when you purchase the digital. But the small size was a bit too small. But I'm wondering if this big size is too big, because realistically, I also wanted a third one. I did want a third one, and we could use more of this. So if we trim this, we'll see. We'll see, because I might not want a third one, but I'm going to trim it down just in case I do. We'll see how it's going to look. And then our animals are going to go behind. But I don't want you to be able to see a lot of them, because I don't want it to be overtly obvious, realistically, that they're wearing clothes. I mean, that deer's going to be more obvious, isn't she? Let's move her over. Because, yeah, I just feel like it's one of those where you kind of... Actually, 3 will work. 3 will work. I had this great guy. He reminds me of the Scottish Wildcats. I don't think he's meant to be. I kind of love him. What do we think? I kind of do love him. But I also love Mrs. Fox. But I feel like the deer's a good one. And we can have Mr. Bunny just down here. Yeah, when you're walking through, it's a bit like, oh, it's an animal. Wait a minute. Is it? Let's try the fox instead of the deer. Because I just love this fox. I love her dress, let alone anything else. Do you know what? I kind of feel like the fox works better. Let's get rid of the wildcat a minute and let's see if the deer will work better up there. I don't know. So I know I want these 2 down here, but before we do that, firstly, what we have to do, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on as a pocket until I decide what I want to put in there, because then I can glue the rest down. It's fine. It's all good. Like so. And then I spent ages. I'm going to put this here for a minute because I just need to see where it's going to go. I spent ages die cutting more plants out because we're walking through woods. And what I also did was I didn't just cut those out. I actually, because it talked about being foggy and a bit misty, yeah, so it's foggy and gloomy. I actually cut some out of tracing paper too. And I have inked them all up in black soot and what's it called? Black soot and walnut stain. That's what I've done. So we'll do the back first so you get the idea of what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm just going to layer. I'm just going to layer, guys, these plants up. And we're going to mix them between the different colours, like the browns and things. I've got to remember, I can't really do the top. Let me get rid of the top bit, because I want it actually coming over the animal. Because, you know, the animal has to be hidden. So just make sure that that does not glue. Not yet, anyway. We can glue it down once we've got the animal that we know we're going to have in there. So yeah, we're just going to layer these up so that it looks a bit like we're in a wood. We're going through trees, even though, yes, I know these are plants, guys. I know that. But I've been in some woods where the ferns are almost as tall as me. So that's what I'm thinking. That was my thought process here. And we're going to add one of the vellums. If I can find a vellum. Here's a vellum. That's nice. Because I just think the vellum gives that slight misty, gloomy kind of effect. And again, my glue tends to dry clear on vellum and things. So I don't mind using it. Yeah, I want this to have, really have a kind of luxurious kind of, well, not luxurious, but overgrown foresty effect. That's what I'm going for. And again, I've cut out some branches. Now, I know it's not going to look realistic that a tree's just kind of sitting like that, but it's more for to give the effect, if that makes sense, just to give the vibes of trees and everything. Just that. That's what we're going for. And another green one here. And we're going to need some more vellum. I don't know if the vellum's going to add anything, but I think if I look at it close up, obviously it's going to be more noticeable than for maybe you guys. Where has that gone to? So that's going to, do you see? Now I definitely need more down here. Even though there's going to be an animal there, I need some more greenery. Gotta have some more. So this is what I'm going for. So I have read ahead now on the prompts because we are halfway through and I was wondering where it was going. I'm going to put that to the side because I can trim that off. Actually, that can be glued. Let's glue that down. There's so many layers now that I'm really having to press down when I'm gluing it in. Right, so let's put Mr. Bunny. He'll be there, like so. And I still feel like I need a bit more over here. And I want a bit more vellum. So let's add a smidge more vellum. Oh, I've got some of these ones, actually, which I haven't really used yet. These this shape in some of my others. I haven't really used it, so I thought it was fun to bring some of this in. Let's bring this in here. But here's my misty morning gloomy. I mean, you can barely see the paper now, but here's the thing. It just gives that background effect. And if I am going to use the stag here, I mean, she would be really well hidden, wouldn't she? I mean, I could use her as a tuck. I could. Like, I could use it so that she comes in and out. Let's see Mr. Scottish Cat. Even though he's not. I don't think he is a Scottish cat, but he reminds me of the wild Scots cats. I don't know. I kind of like him. Kind of like him. Yeah, I think I might like him. Right, we need a bit more greenery here because it's just a bit. I think I need a thicker. One there. Yeah, that'll work with the brown. And I've already seen there are a few prompts coming up that I will actually be combining. Because they just work that way for me, which is fun. I want to add a bit more vellum. Do we need it? I don't think we do, but let's have a look. We don't want to go overboard. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the idea that I don't want to go overboard because we all know that I probably do. And I have to remember, I don't have to fill in absolutely every gap. I want that brought down a bit because I want them sort of angling. And then we've got this gap here. Do you see where you can see the paper? I think that's what's bothering me. I needed something more there. So, oh, look what I found. I found this teensy little scrap left over. Okay, that'll go in there. Good. That'll make me happier. Beautiful scrapbook paper. Oh, look, I've covered it completely. Of course I have. Actually, you can still see some of it, so that's good. So, yeah, so we've got some of the vellum. I'm hoping it's kind of picking up, but it's giving that mist feel to me. Anyway, now this one I'm going to just stick on the bottom because I don't know where I'm going to place everything yet. I know I want Mr. Bunny down here. I'm probably gonna, I'm so sorry, Mr. Bunny. I feel like I'm gonna have to trim you off just at your bottom of your jacket. Ink around him a little bit. And he doesn't have to have his arm, like I can trim the arm. And I liked Mrs. Fox, didn't I? So let's have a look at where she can go. Yep. I mean, I don't know how I feel about a fox and a bunny being that close together. It's a bit worrying. But I think I like that. So let's glue Mr. Bunny just here. And let's glue him on the back. Whilst I get him positioned, let's take Mrs. Fox out. Just want him peeking over so we can just about like, is that a suit he's wearing? Or am I imagining things? Probably imagining it, right? I mean, they can't really be wearing clothes. Can they? Maybe? I don't know. This forest is weird. We actually see more of Mrs. Fox than we see of the others, but that's okay. I think I want her moved over just a tad. Yeah. All right. Let's put a bit of glue. Surely it's still the food that might have been off that I really shouldn't maybe have eaten, but you know. I did, and that's that. Woe is me. Am I really seeing strange creatures wearing clothes? No, it can't be. I'm going a little bit. Maybe I'm sleep deprived. Maybe it was something in the food. Maybe all the strangeness has just started to really get to me. I've just realised that's not over enough. Oh my goodness me. Which means we can see Mrs. Fox more. Do you know what? I can cover it with a plant. Leave it alone, Belle. You can cover it up. It's all good. Right. So we have our strange creatures. Strange creatures. I'm trying to work out if I want the plants going over the edge. I don't know if I do. Do you know what? Let's cut the bottom ones off and then see how I feel. Sorry, Mr. Bunny. I might keep those ones because, again, in the box that I'm keeping these in, there is... Hold on. In the box I'm keeping these in, it's got a restricted width, which is fine if it's just the tag itself. But I've noticed with a couple of the others that I have... the other treehouse one actually with the windows, some of the branches stick out quite a bit from the tag, and I've noticed that doesn't quite fit. It has to go in the box in an angle. And if you're not sure what box I'm talking about, I picked one up to keep these in, and I will be doing some decorating of that box on camera. Should be coming up next week. Oh, Mr. Wildcat, what have you got down your jacket? It's you. You put glue on me, you messy crafter. All right. So anyway, Scottish wildcats. They're becoming more endangered, guys, because with so many... I'm going to have him poking up a bit. With so many domestic cats, which, as we all know, I love my cats, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with domestic cats. But with so many domestic cats, they're kind of breeding with the Scottish wildcats. Or the Scottish wildcats are breeding with the domestic cats, either or. And unfortunately, it just means that we're getting mixed breeds that mean that it's kind of dying out a little bit, which... you know, it's sad. I love the idea that there's wild cats that basically look just like cats. Because we don't really have big cats here in the UK, like wild ones. We don't have mountain lions, pumas, anything like that. So I just love the idea that we had these Scottish wild cats. Plus, again, you know, cat lover. So, see, I feel like this is going to have to go in at an angle because I kind of like that coming off the side like that. So I'm just going to have to do it. As I have some tags that are going to be combined, it should be fine because it'll mean I've still got plenty of room in the box and it won't matter if some of them are at angles. Yes. Now, I did say I was going to do this off camera, but we're here. So let's do it. Ugh. I'm kind of loving the amount of foliage on here. Is it too much, guys? Is it? Look, we're in a wood, okay? A weird magical wood with creatures that may or may not be wearing clothes and giant birds that bring me maps. Tree houses with my names in them. My name in it. And food that's fresh. As if it had just been brought. So, too much? Well, no. I don't think so. Do. Loving it. And I'm so glad I got to use these. So originally I was going to do my creative design team project with these forest creatures, but I ended up doing the John Barleycorn one with the scarecrows. So I'm kind of loving that I'm still getting to use these cute forest creatures. Let's bring in some vellum because we need to. Like I said, I want that kind of misty feel on the plants, that some of them kind of, you know, when they're just covered in mist or frost or dew or whatever it is, whatever to the time of year. I want that kind of feel on these. I'm also not gluing down every piece of all the plants because, again, if you've been watching a lot of these tags, you will know I like movement on my tags. It's a thing. It's what I like. So, yeah. This is a lot of greenery on this one. A lot. But I'm liking it. And actually, the woods that I recently went to, literally yesterday, there was a lot of greenery like this, like just everywhere. You have to walk through. One bit we were walking through, it was up to my knees. So it's not like it's not realistic. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, is it overkill? I don't know. I'm questioning, but I'm still doing it. So I'm obviously not that bothered, am I? And sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes you just have to go, I'm not sure, but I've got a plan and we're just going to keep working it. So, yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes. Where are you going, Mr. Vellum? I think maybe you need to be stuck down just there. Just there. Nope, stick. Thank you very much. We're going to bring in another piece of vellum. Actually, let's bring in this one. And I need more brown. So I do need a bit more brown on this. Actually, let's add the brown first. Let's bring in one of the tree branches of the forest. Sorry, am I crafting off to the side? Let me move. What am I doing? Yeah, so you can see I've covered quite a lot of the creatures up because it's one of those things, again, walking through the forest, they look a little bit off. But because everything's quite overgrown and I can't really see everything clearly, the fact is that I'm not sure if what I'm seeing is really what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And it's still got enough grunge that it fits with the other tags that I have made in the series, although it doesn't have to. I mean, the first few tags have a lot of ink on them and are brighter in colour. I started off thinking I could go brighter. I've ended up going the opposite way. Do I want to bring in a little bit just down there? Just here. What one do I want? I've got a few different ones. Do-do. Do-do. Let's have a bit more brown in the front. I like it. Do-do. Let's cut that again. I will use all these scraps, so it's fine. And then I might bring in a little bit more vellum. Now, I think I was going to add some moss. Shall we just grab it and go for it? Is it too much? But I was going to add some moss. Let's add, I've got another vellum one, and I just feel like I want that too. As I said, just to add that kind of misty, gloomy kind of feel. Goes better there. That's what I want. And the other thing I want is to add a tab, which is why Mr. Wild Scottish Cat hasn't been stuck down yet. We're just going to say that's what he is. I mean, come on. We're doing a tag about magic tree houses and things. It doesn't have to be exact. Okie doo. This one has a lot sticking out from it. Let me grab my moss. Okay, so I've got some of my moss. And again, I think I want the darker colours. So some of this kind of brownish, but they've also got some of this red and orange at the bottom. Let's just pull some out. Oh, it's so yummy. Right, so I need to just realistically be putting this. Okay, get off, get off. The moss is trying to take the tag. Just need to be putting it in places. Come on. Come to my forest, I'll add you today, giving it a creep factor with a bit of realism. Doo-doo-doo. Yes, loving it. Because, yeah. I mean, all right. Are we going to question why the moss is autumnal and the branches, the leaves are green? No, we're not going to do that because we're just not. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go with it. Okay. Okay, then. Just say yes. In my mind, it's enchanted moss. That's what I'm going to say. I do have green moss, but I like this popper colour. So, and I've used this moss on other, come on, glue, glue, glue. Need to add more glue to you. I've used this moss on other tags, so it's fun to bring it in again. Yeah, so I'm not going to overthink it, which can be a tendency. So yes, I know. Could have chosen more autumnal colours, but you know what? I think the moss is kind of the brightest kind of colour I've been using. So, no, I don't want too much autumnal colour. Do 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 do. So, in so many fairy tales, creatures have human attributes. Let's think about the wolf disguised as grandma in the Red Riding Hood and things like that. Or people in mythology and fairy tales are always getting turned into animals. Even Shakespeare's Midsummer Night Dream, we have donkey. So, yeah, that's kind of all my inspiration. The Island of Dr. Moreau. Yeah, as alongside the idea that humans have had for years that animals can be humans, or humans can become animals. I think it's all that fear of the wild thing, isn't it? It's that fear of the unknown and uncivilized, you know, all that silly stuff. But that's where I think it comes from. Let's have a look. We don't want lots. We just want a little. I feel like I need a bit more over here, so that's where we're going. Yeah, I feel like I need more there. So that was my inspiration for this. As I said, my original 2022, the story I created, because I did sort of write a basic story for my journal and the prompts, using the prompts as the inspiration, and then where my decoration on the journal pages was going. I will leave that down below if you want to check that out, because I do have a final flip through of that journal that I filmed, as well as whilst telling the story. I feel like I need a bit more here. So that'll be down below if you want to check that out. But yeah, I was really really, what's the word? Inspired by Jekyll and Hyde, the original Jekyll and Hyde story. So yes, I was thinking with this one, like I said, some classics, but then also just, it already has a fairy tale feel, this tag, and it's going to have more of a fairy tale feel in the next few prompts. So it works on both levels. It still fits it in with my 2022, which again, they don't need to be, but in my head, there we go. Right, that's that. Let me clear this moss away and then we'll continue working. So there we go. There's a bit of glue there, that's okay. And I have a word, so I wanted the word enchantment. This is a Release the Crafting digital. I will leave the link down below. And it says enchantment because I feel like these creatures have all been enchanted. Were they humans before? Or were they animals that have now been turned into more human characteristics? What's that creeping over there? It's a rabbit in a jacket with a creepy stare. Yeah, I feel like that's going to go there. And I wanted to bring in some Hessian burlap, or whatever you want to call it. Again, it kind of gives me that feel of a forest. I feel like this would go on there really nicely, and it'd go across there. Yes, it would. Oh my gosh, I feel like Winifred in Hocus Pocus. Book. Anyway, I always feel like Winifred in Hocus Pocus. She's my alter ego. Oh, I'm definitely in a strange mood today. enchantment. It will stick. It's just going to need some time. Your enchantment. Yeah, so let me know down below. Do you think it's people who've been turned into animals, or do you think it's animals who've been turned more into people? Okay, now I do want to add a tab. So I've just got some fabric. Or we could just use the Hessian fabric to bring that in. I use that also on the raven knocking at my window one. Behind Mr. Wildcat. Oh my goodness, Belle. It's one of those days. It's one of those strange days. I'm using some of the cheesecloth that I have been using throughout. I don't have a lot of it left. I'll have to try and make some using some inks. I want that green, and I have this little like scrap, this little green scrap. I mean, realistically, look at it, guys. It's a tiny green scrap, but that's okay because, yeah. So I'm going to add these to there, stitch that, and then we'll be back. Okay, so Mr. Wildcat almost got his ears sewn to it, but thankfully, it was only on one. Look, one ear kind of got caught up as the needle was going a certain way. We're going to leave him so he's not stuck down because I want to be able to see the yumminess. So what do we think, guys? And then I came across these numbers. I forgot I had these numbers. These are actually Halloween daily date labels, again, by Release the Crafting. Now, I think they brought these out a couple of years ago. I don't know if they're in their shop or what. If they have them, I will link them down below. But as I was looking for things in my stash, I came across a whole sheet that I printed out and obviously not used that sheet. I know I used them, but I must have printed out more than one sheet. And so I've now been adding these onto the backs of my tags. And I just think, yay, it's using up something else that I had in my stash. And it looks quite good. So there are our tags, guys. The raven knocking at the door. The map that's telling us about the woods and the journey. And then the creepy forest with the man-beast, beast-men, whichever way you want to do it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that one came out. I'm wondering if I want to add some glossy accents to it, just to give little drops of dew and frost. If I do, I will show you. But that's it for now, guys. So we are, as of today, caught up. And so tomorrow we'll be working on page 9. Page 9? No, it won't. It'll be prompt 19. Honestly, walking through this forest on a foggy morning after sleeping in a treehouse has obviously made my brain go a bit addled. Anyway, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again soon with another video. And until next time, guys, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having lots and lots of spooky, crafty fun. Bye for now.